And be aware that the attendees at the top of your screen in the panelist area is a separate gray thing. So you'll see the names on the panelists one thing and attendees on the other. And Bernice has spotlighted herself, so they will be taking care of the spotlight for the SL. Thank you guys. Have a great meeting. I'm available as need be for the cell phone.
Ian, okay.
You are in the meeting. Monitoring progress.
Good morning, everyone. According to my chronometer, it is 10 a.m. So we want to begin this wonderful celebration, this virtual event celebrating ability in the workplace, sponsored by the Virginia Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired. I am Ray Hopkins, Commissioner of DBVI, and I wish to welcome everybody to this event. Some of you may be joining us because you have received services from us in the past, or perhaps you're currently on our caseload. Maybe you are a representative of one of the businesses with which we partner or a governmental agency. I'm sure we also have some employees of the Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired with us. Whatever your relationship, whatever makes you a stakeholder with this agency, we say thank you for joining us and please feel welcome. Unfortunately, we are not able to gather together today as we had originally hoped and planned, but we think that you will still understand why we think it's important for us to celebrate the accomplishments of people with disabilities, particularly those who are blind, deafblind, or vision impaired, and who are out in our workforce. This celebration is part of the commemoration of the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Not only this agency, but across the country, people are doing things to recognize this month, this awareness and the contributions of people with disabilities. The theme of this year, American Recovery Powered by Inclusion, is very powerful and it has great meaning to us. So, we have been in the midst for several months now, celebrating this our 100th year of service to the Commonwealth. So in 99 and a half years, we have, as an entity, touched a lot of lives and seen a lot of things. And I can tell you that certainly 100 years ago, there was not much focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion as there has been in recent years in the United States. But I can say to you that an American recovery certainly has to be inclusive of people with disabilities. And we've seen the evolution as a Commonwealth, as an agency, And certainly it is fitting for us to acknowledge those businesses, excuse me, that understand that an inclusive workforce has to also include those with disabilities, that people with disabilities also wish to enjoy the benefits of work and have contributions to make. So it's in that spirit that we gather together today and that we celebrate, but we celebrate not just today or this month. We celebrate people working, Americans with disabilities engaged in work all the time. And we thank you, whether you are one of those workers, one of those employers, one of the people who make it possible. Thank you for your contribution, and this is your celebration. So let us begin. Now, one of my tasks this morning is to introduce a friend of mine, someone I've known for a while. I'm not going to put a number on that, but when I met Dr. Edna Johnson, we were both early in our careers. And I can say that for more than 30 years, she has shared and developed her expertise in rehabilitation counseling, in independent living services for individuals who are blind, and in transition services for youth with disabilities transitioning from school to work. And Dr. Johnson has certainly had a lot of different experiences through those times, and I'm not going to recount them all, but I'll hit a couple of recent highlights. First, I just want to acknowledge that she earned her doctorate in special education some 21 years ago from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. And she applied that, of course, in different ways and has worked for the federal government and certainly at the state level as well. In recent years, she came into contact with this agency when she transitioned to a different career, which has led her to where she is now. Since 2016, Edna has worked for the Human Resources Directorate of the Washington Headquarters Services, United States Department of Defense, where she is a disability and reasonable accommodations program manager. Under her leadership there, she has helped their reasonable accommodation program evolve, where she has gotten local managers and supervisors more involved in the interactive process that ultimately leads to, those very definitive memoranda and other documents that general counsel sign off on that says this is, the firm agreement, this is what we're going to do. But she's also been engaged in providing mentorship and training to disability specialists and supervisors through the Department of Defense Equal Opportunity and Diversity Management Institute. She's been involved with helping to revamp the curricula and providing mentorship to others entering the discipline of disability program management. She has been recognized by the Washington Headquarters Services for her customer services and for her training that she has provided to others across that organization. In 2016, the two Virginia vocational rehabilitation agencies, the Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services and the Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired, recognized Edna as a champion of professional development. She's also been recognized by the Secretary of Defense in 2018, being one of those civilian awardees for her support of the mission by the Secretary during their 38th annual Disability Awards. Excuse me. So, as I said, I've known Edna a while, and I know that Edna has varied interests. And she certainly, amongst her many accomplishments, continues to guide and direct people. And among the things that she's been honored with was an opportunity in 2020 to actually serve at the White House for 6 months as their rehabilitation, reasonable accommodation expert and consultant. I know that Edna enjoys travel. She enjoys learning. One thing that I saw in your bio, Edna, you said you enjoy looking at antiques. I suspect there's more than looking going on. There are probably a few dollars that exchange hands too. But yeah, I just would like to ask all of you to welcome my friend. And I've known Edna, as she says, from the time back when I had an afro. So, you know, it's been a while. But please welcome my great friend, my colleague, the esteemed Dr. Edna Johnson.
Thank you so much. Can you all hear me? Can they hear me? Yes. Okay, very good. This is the first time for me doing this type of platform, making a presentation as a keynote speaker. I did when Diane and Cindy reached out to me. I want to also give a shout out to them for contacting me and letting me know that they felt that I would be have something to say to you today. I said, well, you guys must have really hit the bottom of the barrel. And they said, oh, no, you've done a lot for our customers who are blind. And so I really hope that I know that DBVI has done a great deal for me in terms of service delivery and support. So I certainly want to take this opportunity and accept this invitation to share with you my perspective on America's recovery being powered by inclusion, and also to celebrate the ability in the workforce, which is all about what we are in the field of rehabilitation, because we really do believe in work, but we also believe in independent living services as well. I want to emphasize, I'm going to take a few seconds and minutes and just talk about my years in knowing Commissioner Hopkins. I knew him back in my early days as a vocational rehab counselor, working with the Division Services for the Blind. And it's been a while. It's been over 30 years. And I'm proud to say that because over those years, back then we called him Ray. Then he moved into Raymond. Then he moved into Mr. Hopkins as a director there in Oklahoma. And now he is Commissioner Hopkins. And I'm very proud to acknowledge his accomplishments as he did for me in the presentation. Mr. Hopkins, or Commissioner Hopkins, I should say, you need to know that all during his career, he was inherently smart. He was smart as well as his brother Dan. He is highly experienced across the service delivery field of blind services. You know, many of our directors have experience in the field of vocational rehabilitation, but Commissioner Hopkins actually worked as a rehabilitation teacher, and he has, since I've known him, even when I was working with the U.S. Department of Education and serving as a project officer for older individuals who are blind, he was a very strong advocate for that program for within his state. And I just, that was always a highly value to me, because services to older individuals who were blind, well, it was for even sometimes within the department, it was perceived as a little program that didn't do much. But of course, now it is very much valued as the funding resources increased. But Mr. Hopkins, or Commissioner Hopkins, was very supportive early on uh, with those services for individuals, older individuals who are blind. He was also an advocate for transition services. So he has at the helm right now in your centennial year, you have a leader who is across the lifespan supportive of all of your consumers who are experiencing adjustment to blindness, whatever phase in life they are. And most importantly, I want to emphasize that Mr. Hopkins or Commissioner Hopkins is very instrumental in being a trust agent, and he trusts his managers to be innovative in creating new strategies, leading out in new strategies, and serving uh, individuals who are blind, specifically in the world of work. I was so excited during the SRC meeting to hear Cynthia Roberts, your business and um, corporate initiative director. That girl was on fire talking about all the innovation, all the things they were able to do in finding new opportunities for customers who are blind. And she attributed that ability, that capacity during this pandemic to the support management, was the trust that management allowed all of them to do to be creative in accessing opportunities for customers. So I want to give a big shout out to that element of trust. And in speaking about trust, what it brings to mind, I was watching an interview with David Rubenstein, who's a big hedge fund guru in finance, and he was interviewing Mark Benioff. Now, I may mess up Mark's name, but Benioff. But he is the leader and CEO, the founder and CEO of Salesforce. And one of the things that he pointed out was that in his early years, he tinkered with computers. And one of the ways that he grew in his business was that he believed trust was the highest priority. That is what really contributed to his success in the world of competitive business. He says that without that element of trust, you really don't grow. You want to instill in your customers the value of how important having that confidence in their capacity to accomplish and do the job that needs to be done, to be creative and to be competitive. But most importantly, he emphasized that when he and his wife bought Time magazine, the reason why they bought it was that Time magazine always represented trust. It, because the news was trustworthy, it had impact, and it was a credible magazine, and it always included equity. So he said, that's a good acronym for time, that it was one that was built on trust, worthy news. It was the news had impact for the world, and that it was always included equity. And I thought about that element of time and what business is really about. Business is about, he said, is a platform for change, a social engine of change. And when I think about that, as we have our business partners here today, as well as our customers here today, and our leaders in the field of blindness here at DBVI, I want to say that there is something about that knowledge about equity that transcends both in the fields of what we're about in rehabilitation and what business is about in building trust, building confidence in individuals who are blind in the world, making this planet a better place than what we found it when, before we started our mission in the world of serving individuals who are blind. But then when I was thinking back, reflecting in my years in the field, I thought about the acronym of time, and I was thinking about how in my field, what got me started thinking about transition from school to work. When I was a counselor, many of the consumers who would come into my office at the age of 30, it was something about that magic number 30, that they realized they needed to be doing something more than just being at home, collecting a Social Security check. By then, some of them would have married, they would have had a child, and they needed more out of life. And I wanted to know, why did you drop out of school? Why did you drop out of school and have this gap in time between the time you left school and now you're coming into our office and saying, now I'm ready to work? And I realized in doing my research in early education, one of the things that they brought out is that you have to think about influential, meaningful experiences, because that is what lays the foundation for an attitude about work, participating in life in general. This was early on. That was really what propelled me to think about starting a transition program in Arkansas called Project Vision, which they call it something now. I can't remember what they call it, but I really worked towards just getting a head start. It just kind of propelled me to try something new. And I have to say, everybody wasn't on board at first. We worked with the Job Training Partnership Act, which I don't even know if that act exists any longer. But I know I'm revealing my age at this point because I go back so far. But I wanted those young people to think about these meaningful experiences that were going to propel them into the world of work. And of course, many of them did. Some of them moved on into the world of work. Some of them did go into college. And I'm not sure what happened to all of them. But I think not only did they gain some experiences, but also the staff gained some experiences in trusting and realizing the importance of this early intervention into the world of work. Interestingly, too, that during my years, as I began to do more research, I realized I wanted to advance my learning in the field of transition, which is why I went back to school and got an opportunity to receive a stipend to go back and work on my doctorate in the field of transition. And while I was there at the University of Illinois, I actually had worked with some young students, some master's students in the field of vocational rehab counseling. And we had a project that we were jointly working on with the Urban League, a summer program. And one of our roles was to work with businesses that were supporting the Urban League's program in the summer youth program and integrating knowledge about individuals with disabilities. And this was, before really diversity and inclusion was, being really promoted in the way it's promoted now. This was back in the 90s. But one of the things that when we were there in our training session, they had a training session before they met their mentors in employment. Young people, they're very restless. They're very, can sometimes be cavalier in their behavior. And when there was I believe one of the trainers, one of the employers was about to address the young people, and one of the representatives from the Urban League, he got up out of his chair, walked in front of the room, put his hands together and said, "This is business. We're not in here to play. This is business. If you want to play, you can leave this room right now." And I mean, it just kind of shook up the young people because they never, this was a diverse group of young people. These were not just individuals with disabilities. It was also a mixed race group of young people. But the wake up was that they had to know this is business. And this is something that we have to also translate to our young people as well early on in making sure that they think about the impact or the influence of meaningful experiences so they know that when they're moving into the world of work, it doesn't have to be necessarily after they finish high school. They don't have to be in work adjustment programs. Because now I want to add that volunteerism is now a part of the curriculum of education anyway. Pretty much everybody is doing volunteer work. And so that competitive employment is a form of a rite of passage for individuals with disabilities to say to society, hey, we're moving into the adult world, because their peers are getting driver's license. They're able to move into a show that they can, not only can they drive, but they can work. But when you don't drive, and this was something that was always puzzling, or sometimes I felt left out because I didn't have that rite of passage to show society that, hey, I'm moving into the adult world as well. Even though I don't drive a car, I'm still smart. I'm able to function, but I wasn't able to show that symbolic transition like that of a driver's license, of driving a car. And I had a sociologist, one of the sociologists, as a matter of fact, at Mississippi State, pointed out that symbol alone really propels young people in the general population to make their mark and make their strides and move towards being apart, making that transition into the adult world, as they acquire that opportunity, that doesn't mean that they're mature and all of that. That doesn't mean all of that in a bag of chips, but it's important in terms of transitioning into the world of work. But I want to say that, of course, when we're talking about the world of work, we're talking about being workability, celebrating workability in the workplace. We are still talking about attitudinal barriers. You know, as a rehab, as a reasonable accommodation program manager, and I say rehab a lot because I still, in the back of my mind, I still do a little counseling with customers, as well as my doing reasonable accommodation. The biggest barrier that they face is, in fact, attitudinal. It's not so much physical, or of course, they do have now psychology, psychological mental health has become at the forefront as a barrier in the world of work that we have to innovate our accommodations for. But it's just the idea of having to ask for help, and also that word disability. Still, people think, okay, I'm not disabled, I just need some help in getting my job done. And I have to do a lot of work in helping individuals to understand that having a limitation in a substantial life activity doesn't mean that you're not productive or you're not valued. You know, you still need this accommodation to support your retention in the world of work. So that it's attitudinal barriers is, I don't know, will ever disappear from the world of inclusion and diversity. But I want us to think more clearly as workers in the field of blindness, to realize that blindness is really, in many cases, not the primary disability. People, you know, when I first started and in the field, it was thought of blind, vanilla blind. You just working in blindness. But now individuals who are blind are dealing with mental illness. They're dealing with substance abuse, sexual abuse, all of that. They have cancer. They're diabetic. They have multiple, and I mean not just comorbidity, they have multiple conditions. So in our field, as we think about, you know, the workplace, we've got to prepare and in our arsenal have these partnerships with more so with multiple medical communities, not just with the ophthalmologist. We need the social workers. We need the specialists in counseling, in mental health. We need so many more partners to execute and ensure job retention and advancement in the world of work. But I want to leave you, you know, with yet again another challenge. I want to say that in my transition into the field of human resources, and I have a great deal of debt to Ms. Scott, who's being honored today, as well as to all of the staff at the the Department of Blind Services. And I want to close out by talking about A Rainbow in a Cloud. This is another Arkansan, Maya Angelou, even though she wasn't necessarily born in Arkansas. Her time in Arkansas is where she gained influential, meaningful experiences. And she talks about how important being a rainbow in a cloud. You know, right now in this pandemic, it is so much confusion in terms of our political world, in our personal world. It just helps to know that every day that there is a rainbow, you are doing a rainbow in someone's cloud. One of the things I like about this job, I want to say, they're even on my worst days, when I'm stressed with a lot of work, I get at least 3 thank yous from someone who appreciates reaching out to them, our communication, better understanding. And I want you all to know that every single one of you, whether you are a receptionist, a counselor, an administrator, whatever your role is in services for the blind, I take you with me every day because it is through your support, even the technologists as well. I want to give a shout out to even the Randolph Shepherd program. You know, when I put on programs here before the pandemic, I could count on the Randolph Shepherd program to supply our events with free popcorn and as much water as I needed. So, you know, you just don't realize the magnitude this department has in terms of serving not just one person, but I take all of you with me when I'm providing services to individuals who are blind. Because really what we should be about making change in the world. And, you know, in being a rainbow in a cloud is about being kind, your kindness and a blessing to someone each day. And so I want to close with letting each one of you know that you have been a rainbow in my cloud for a very long time. And I want you to know too that as you move into this next segment of a new centennial, you are going to continue to be rainbows in a lot of clouds of people who are adjusting with blindness. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity. And I want you to know that even so many years ago, as a young counselor, our administrators would come to Virginia. See, Virginia was doing transition before transition was cool. So you were a pioneer and a leader in the field of service delivery to persons who are blind. So I just want to thank each one of you. I've made a full circle from my early years to right now, that where DBVI has had a significant impact on my life and continues to be a rainbow in my cloud. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Cindy Roberts, and I'm the Director of Business and Corporate Initiatives. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. We are so honored to have you as our keynote this morning in helping us launch National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We so appreciate you, and we appreciate your partnership. And I must say, yes, I work with a team of fireballs. Our business unit and our counselors move at the speed of business. And so thank you for that. And now I would like to introduce Pam Cato. Pam is our Director of Vocational Rehabilitation and Workforce Services, and she's going to be presiding over our very exciting award ceremony. So Pam, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Cindy. Good morning, everyone. let me also welcome you to our celebration today. This is one of my most favorite days in the whole year. It's a day where we get to honor individuals and businesses that have really achieved some outstanding outcomes over the course of the past year. So thank you for being with us. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for those inspiring words. I just have to say, when you mentioned influential, meaningful experiences, I had to smile, because we are all about helping not only our adult job seekers, but our students and youth as they start to explore the world of work and consider where are they going to fit in as adults working in the community. So that really spoke to me as a fellow transition professional. So thank you. It is my honor. I get to introduce some of our DBVI team members, who will then be introducing you to the individuals that are receiving awards this morning. So I'm not going to take any more of your time. I am going to introduce you to Miss Diane McBride, who is a business relations specialist who works out of our Fairfax regional office, but covers a good portion of our state with business relations support services. So Diane is going to introduce us to our partner of the year. Diane.
Thank you, Pam. Well, it is with a great honor that I am going to introduce our first award recipient, who I have great admiration for. I've had the honor of working with Gwendolyn Scott over a number of years, first as a fellow placement counselor at the Department for Rehabilitative Services, and then as an incredible sister agency partner to DBVI. Gwendolyn has an unwavering passion and commitment to the success of job seekers with disabilities, which has resulted in life-changing careers. She sets the bar high for participants of the weekly DARS Alexandria Professional Job Club, for which she facilitates. It is this job club that Gwendolyn and DARS have welcomed DBVI career seekers to attend. Gwendolyn works tirelessly to advocate not only for the DARS career seekers, but gives the same support and advocacy to the DBVI participants, resulting in DBVI career seekers obtaining high-paying jobs with businesses and federal agencies, such as the Department of Labor, Department of Transportation, Washington Headquarters Services, just to name a few. It is my immense pleasure to present the DBVI Celebrating Ability Partner of the Year Award to Gwendolyn Scott. Gwendolyn, would you like to say a few words? There you are. You need to unmute.
All right. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, DBVI, for the recognition of the DARS DBVI Partnership Award. And Diane, you said everything I was going to say. You are definitely my partner and my teammate. During my time at DARS, there's been a lot of changes, but the thing that has not changed is my passion for the work. I really enjoy developing careers and changing lives. And this partnership is easy because I believe in the mission of our agencies. I am proud of the work we do, and I'm honored to receive the Partnership Award. Thank you very much, all of you, and it's so good to see you this morning. And I look forward to continuing.
Congratulations, Gwendolyn. It's so wonderful to have you with us, and your partnership means a great deal to us. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. Our next award is going to go to our Business of the Year, and presenting that award will be our Business Relations Specialist, Karen Kahn, who also covers a great deal of the state and works out of our Richmond Regional Office. Karen?
Thank you, Pam. Our partnership with Amazon began a few years ago when they hired one of our career seekers who was hired into his position as a result of DBVI and the Community College Workforce Alliance collaborating to help him attain his Manufacturing Technician 1 credential. More recently, DBVI began the process of working with one of our consumers for job retention with Amazon when it was discovered that accommodations were needed. I met Kiera Bulford, vocational rehabilitation consultant with Amazon, who helped us coordinate services with her team at the local level, which then grew into an entire team of professionals coming together to help this one individual maintain his employment. The team consisted of the vocational rehabilitation counselor, the business relations team, the Choice Group Employment Services Organization, an occupational therapist with Wilson Workforce and Rehabilitation Center, DBVI's Rehabilitation Technology Specialist, and the Senior Accommodations Consultant with Amazon. The end result has been a success. We value our relationship and our partnership with Amazon, and at this time, I'd like to introduce Kiera Bulford to accept this award for Business of the Year.
Good day, everybody. Thank you, Karen, for such the warm introduction. I just want to say thank you for the award. Extremely lovely. I was pleased to receive this. It's an honor to accept this Business of the Year award on behalf of Amazon's Disability Leave and Services. Thank you to DBVI for selecting Amazon. It's been a pleasure to partner with you to ensure that fellow Amazonians have the supports needed to remain successful at work. I would also like to acknowledge Cindy Roberts and her team for just being great points of contact, not just for disability leave and services as a whole, but also for the vocational rehabilitation program here at Amazon that I'm a part of, and also the on-site job coaching program that we are in the process of developing. Again, thank you, and I look forward to our continued partnership.
Thank you, Kiera, and congratulations to you and Amazon for our Business of the Year award. I'm going to be excited to hear more about some of those new initiatives. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so now we're going to move on to our Employee of the Year awards. And this is really when the morning, I think, for all of us gets super exciting. So the first Employee of the Year award will be presented by one of our very talented and committed VR counselors who works out of our Fairfax office, Miss Holly Dalton. Holly.
Thank you, Pam. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Diane Carson, recipient of the Employee of the Year award from DBVI. I first met Dr. Carson in June of 2019 as we sat at her kitchen table and she described her path to DBVI. First as a child with a vision impairment, which was initially misdiagnosed as an intellectual disability, before she showed high aptitude and ability in mathematics. She then talked with me about her experiences as a math teacher and a school administrator, where she largely had to accommodate herself in order to perform her jobs. She described what she considered the strikes against her, and among other things, concerns about being older with a disability. Dr. Carson came off of our DBVI waiting list for services in spring of 2020, just as the pandemic was forcing all of us into a lockdown situation. She, however, was not dissuaded. In summer of 2020, she was introduced to Diane McBride, DBVI's business relations specialist, and Gwendolyn Scott from DARS. She participated in the Career Connections program, Alexandria DARS Job Club, several workshops related to federal employment, and unpaid work experiences with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. Concurrently, she worked diligently on defending her doctoral dissertation and achieved a doctorate in education in December of 2020. Through her demonstrated grit and determination, which was, by the way, the subject of her dissertation, Dr. Carson is now employed full-time as a program analyst with the federal government Washington Headquarters Services in a job she absolutely loves. She is promoting a public school curriculum with a focus on the legacy and history of the Vietnam War, honoring Vietnam veterans and their families. Clearly, as Dr. Carson says, disability does not mean dysfunction. Please join me in welcoming and further celebrating the achievements of Dr. Diane Carson.
Good morning, everybody. This is such an honor. I can't express to you to be honored for something that I consider to be ordinary. Having the opportunity that DBBI has given me, meeting Gwendolyn Scott, who is encouraged me, just accepting only excellence. And Ms. McBride, who is so very caring and knowledgeable, and Ms. Dalton, who sort of steered me that way. I am just so thankful. When I began this experience, I was wounded and saddened and not really feeling that I had anything to offer anymore. And through this organization, they steered me in a way that re-encouraged me and revisited my knowledge and my experience and engulfed me with the understanding of how things are now. And I am just so very grateful. I cannot express to you how grateful I am for this opportunity. I so much wanted to make a difference. I wanted to make a difference on a national level. And because of this organization, I get to do that, and do that in a way where I'm not hiding my disability, but using that disability to encourage others and to show and promote that there is function in the disability factor. I also want to acknowledge WHS for employing me and for being a member of the what we call H&L team, which is History and Legacy of the Vietnam War, through the Vietnam War commemoration. And my boss, Mr. Mark, why is it just escaping me? I want to say Henderson, Mr. Mark Franklin, former colonel, and all of the team. So thank you for that. I want to, without a doubt, give all of the credit and encouragement and meet the mark that you guys stand for. I don't want to in any way substitute mediocrity, but to exemplify excellence in every category. So thank you again. I do not have the award, it did not arrive, but I'm looking forward to receiving that. So thank you again for everything.
Thank you, Dr. Carson, and congratulations on a well-earned award. I enjoyed hearing more about your journey and your path to absolutely making a difference to those that you work with and on the national level. So thank you. And I certainly will make sure that award is tracked down and gets in your hands soon. So thank you. All right, so we have another Employee of the Year award that is going to be presented by one of our passionate and compassionate professional VR counselors. Ms. Felicia Williams works out of our Richmond Regional Office, and I'm going to turn it over to Felicia. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. It's a pleasure to be able to share Joshua Baker's success story with you today. Joshua Baker is a story artist, graphic designer, and illustrator. In addition, I'm happy to add successfully employed to his list of accomplishments. At the beginning of services, Joshua received counseling and guidance on transitional services after high school, recommendations for assistive technology and accommodations in a college setting, and college sponsorship through Longwood University with a vocational goal of multimedia artists and animators. While attending Longwood University, Joshua worked as an illustrator on several projects. As Joshua approached his senior year of college, he was referred to the DBVI Business Relations team to explore setting up a work-based learning experience and job development after graduation. Through his hard work and agency supports, Joshua graduated from Longwood University in 2018 with a bachelor's degree in graphic and animation design. After graduation, Joshua worked part-time at the James Hamner Library as a circulation assistant. With several accomplishments under his belt, he hoped living in the city of Richmond would offer more work opportunities in graphic design. However, Joshua still expressed how much he enjoyed working in a library setting. He continued to work with the DBVI's business relations team to explore work-based learning opportunities in the Richmond area. The business relations team connected Joshua with the awesome staff at the Richmond Public Library to discuss a library assistant / graphic designer opportunity. With all partners' support, they were able to start a paid work experience. It didn't take long for his talents to really shine. After completing 2 months of his work experience, Joshua was offered a part-time position, assisting patrons using email, branding, updating the library signage, making handouts, and assisting with their social media accounts. But shortly after being offered the part-time position, he was offered a full-time position as a library technician. He continues to help the public, assist with graphic design projects, develop logos, and he's currently assisting with their Read Up Richmond flyers and posters. Joshua was kind enough to share some of his favorite designs. I'm going to try to share that with you really quick. Let me try that one more time. Sorry, I do apologize. And I practiced this. All right, let's see. I do apologize.
Alicia, can you, before you share your screen, get to the beginning in the presentation? The share screen's a little finicky.
Let's see. Did it not go through?
We were seeing it before, but not now.
Oh, goodness. I'm clicking from the beginning. Were you able to see that?
The presentation isn't showing on the screen.
I do apologize. I need to,
There we go.
Oh.
Here we go.
all right.
So click from the beginning way on the left-hand side, Felicia. Here you go. Well,
For some reason, sorry.
can you just scroll? Yeah, scroll through. There you go.
It's a hard way. There's always 2 ways to do it. Did it work that time for me? Were you able to capture some of those
Yes, we
talented
were able.
skills? Awesome. Better than my PowerPoint skills right now. But Joshua, we're so proud of your success and in obtaining employment. And thank you so much. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the award and thank you for recognizing me. I'm really bad about these kind of things, but DBVI helped me get to where I am, and I've been with them since I was basically in kindergarten. So they've been a big impact on me. So thank you.
Joshua, congratulations. Your work is amazing, and we know you're going to continue to do wonderful, amazing things. Congratulations on your award and all your achievements.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one more exciting Employee of the Year award. It's my pleasure to introduce you to one of our experienced and again dedicated vocational rehabilitation counselors, Miss Denise Stuck. Denise works out of our Fairfax office. Denise?
Thank you, Pam. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Denise Stuck, and it is my honor to introduce Ms. Sharon Jose, DBVI Employee of the Year recipient. Sharon began working with DBVI as an 8th grader. During her high school years, she actively participated in DBVI services that included attending summer camps, orientation and mobility training, and our assistive technology evaluation services. After high school, Sharon was accepted into several colleges and ultimately chose the Honors College at George Mason University. She double majored in math and computer science. She remained on the dean's list throughout her college years and graduated with honors. While at GMU, she also worked on campus as a learning and teaching assistant and co-authored publications. During her summers, she focused on obtaining work experience through internships. Sharon's internship experience includes working as an AssistTech Lab intern at the Indian Institute of Technology in India, a software engineering intern with In-App Technopark in India, and at Google in Sunnyvale, California, again as a software engineering intern. Her final software engineering internship was with Facebook in Seattle, Washington, which this experience launched her career as she was hired into the engineering department at Facebook, where she currently works today. Sharon, we would like to congratulate you on this well-deserved accomplishment.
Hello, thank you, Denise, for the introduction, and thank you, DBVI, for this award. I am truly honored to have been selected for this award. DBVI has supported me throughout my journey from high school to college and to the workplace. I always had someone to contact for any problems I was facing or accommodations I needed. I had someone advocating for me, especially when I had trouble advocating for myself. DBVI provided me with all the technology and the resources I needed to successfully complete my education and get a job as a software engineer. I believe strongly in the mission to empower blind people to be independent and pursue any career we desire. Though being blind is challenging and comes with many struggles, I have come to view it as a strength that makes me a more empathetic person, a better problem solver, and a strong self-advocate. I would like to thank my counselor, Denise Stuck, for supporting me and providing me with the resources I need to be independent. She takes the time to check in with me regularly, which really means a lot to me. Once again, I would like to thank DBVI for all the service they provide. I will proudly display this award to raise awareness about low vision and blindness. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sharon. Thank you for those comments. We are just so excited for you and your position at Facebook and all that you've accomplished. Again, we know you'll continue to do great things. Thank you. So those of us that are panelists that can unmute, let's give all the awardees a wonderful round of applause and congratulations on the awards today. few people joined me. So
Congratulations.
yes, congratulations. If we were in person,
Wonderful.
people would be clapping loudly and shouting out to each one of you. So that concludes the awards portion of our celebration. And it's my honor now to introduce you to our Deputy Commissioner for Services, Dr. Rick Mitchell, who will provide us with some closing remarks. Dr. Mitchell?
Thank you, Pam, and let me join you in just congratulating all of our recipients today. It certainly is an exciting day just to hear all of your accomplishments. And as we conclude our Celebrating Ability in the Workplace, our 2021 event, we certainly have heard a lot today and been encouraged. And as I think about the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, you know, we was just recently saw when it all began. It began actually 76 years ago with the National Employ the Physically Handicapped Week. And in 1962, the word physically was removed from it. And it was in 1998 that it was moved to what we now know as the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And as we've watched over the years, I've had the privilege to be involved in rehabilitation for 36 years. And I've watched things change and things improve. It used to, even when I started back in the mid 80s, you know, we often would approach employers with, you know, consider hiring someone who is blind or has a disability because they'll stick with you. And, you know, we tried to promote it that they were dedicated employees and that they would show up to work. But probably the real truth was if somebody with a disability got a job, they stayed there because they knew how difficult it was to get a job. But things certainly have changed today as we look at inclusiveness within the workplace. And as we work with companies turn now to DBVI to help fill their talent needs. And so we certainly have seen a change today. And Dr. Carson, I'm sorry, not Dr. Carson, Dr. Johnson, I certainly appreciate your comments today. And as you were talking, you mentioned a particular word that jumped out to me in particular, and it was the word trust. And the word trust, reason why it spoke to me, I was involved in a small group discussion earlier this week, and we talked about trust. And the facilitator asked the question, you know, besides, if you're married, besides your spouse, name somebody that you can trust. And as I thought about that question, many of our employees that I have the privilege to work with every day, they're the ones that came to my mind. And I thought about it even further, not only people, but even what else can we trust? And we can certainly trust our rehabilitation program and the dedication that our employees bring to the work every day. And so as you mentioned the word trust, it certainly spoke to me. And as we trust those that are around us, we have the opportunity every day to make an impact in the lives and the people that we work with every day. And so as we leave today and conclude this celebration, I would encourage each of you to make a commitment that you're going to make an impact on someone's life today and tomorrow and the days going forward. And that impact, oftentimes, it's small. It's not every day that we make a huge impact, but we can make small impacts. And oftentimes, that impact is something as simple as believing in others, maybe even before they can believe in themselves. And so we have that opportunity to be that rainbow in the cloud that Dr. Johnson talked about. And so as we conclude, I would just encourage each of you to continue to live your lives in a way that is considered to be trustworthy and live your lives in a way that you impact someone's life today, whether it's through the job that you do or whether it's just through an acquaintance that you have. I would encourage you to just make that impact And in doing that, we can change our world. We've seen it changed over the last 76 years in the world of rehabilitation. And we have that opportunity that our future is bright as we celebrate our 100-year celebration. But I look forward to the years ahead at DBVI so that we can continue making an impact in our transition programs, as well as not only with our vocational rehab program, but in all of the programs. We have that opportunity to truly make a change. So thank you each for joining us today. And truly, it is an opportunity for us to celebrate today. So I hope each of you have a great day.